your eyes and just align yourself, because next 2 hours we are going to learn a lot about legal, which each of one must imbibe the knowledge, wisdom about these important parts. So please close your eyes and just concentrate on your breath. No thoughts, only your breath. Just feel how you are exhaling and how you are inhaling, both the process. And pay gratitude to your every breath. If any thought comes, please say, sorry, I'm busy, because I'm aligning myself. Just feel you're calm, composed, and relaxed. Just be with your breath. Breath is our actually best friend. Till it is there, I'm alive. The time I'm going to miss it, I won't have any life. So we must pay gratitude to our breath every day, every moment. And for an educator, it is very important to have a peaceful mind, a calm mind. Need to have tranquility, because we are in a process of nurturing the human minds, the human emotions. If I want to learn something, I need to empty myself first. And this is the best process, being with you. You can make yourself empty. You can make yourself pure, so that you can attain the knowledge, wisdom, and peace. Last 1 minute. Just feel happy with your breath. Feel happy with yourself. Feel happy with your environment. Feel happy in your city. Feel happy in your country. Feel happy in this universe. And spread your positive vibrations. Last 30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Slowly, slowly, please come back. Dilpreet, over to you. We had 5 minutes, so I thought that we should do some calm exercises for us. Some calmness
It was
was.
wonderful, ma'am. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I joined in between, but it was great. So we'll start. Greetings, everyone. It is a matter of great pleasure for me to welcome you all for our international seminar, Dignity, Freedom, and Justice for All, on the occasion of UN World Human Rights Day, which is being held today on December 10, 2022. Our moral, religious, and political traditions are united in their respect for the dignity of human life. All labor that uplifts the humanity has dignity and importance that should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Human dignity is the same for all human beings. When I trample on the dignity of another, I'm trampling the dignity of my own. Human rights rest on human dignity. The dignity of man is an ideal worth fighting for and worth dying for. Fighting for human rights, a commitment to social justice, and treating people with dignity are all very important parameters of existence of human on this earth. Freedom and justice for all are infinitely more to be desired than pedestals for the few. All the humans have the right to thrive with dignity and freedom from racism and discrimination in all forms. When you see something that is not right, that is not fair, you should speak up. You should do something for it. So, with this revolutionary sparks, we will start today's international seminar. Our today's international seminar is a part of UNESCO's movement towards education for sustainable development. Education for health, well-being, and global citizenship education. It is organized by International Council for Education, Research, and Training. Now let me brief you about ICERT. ICERT, International Council for Education, Research, and Training, is an autonomous, non-government, leading scientific and professional research and training organization with offices located in Washington, D.C., California, Sydney, New Delhi, and other countries. With several educators, researchers, consultants, and students as its members, ICRT not only develops educational training programs, but also manages institutes and promotes research and training in education globally. This is an institution of learning and training, facilitating education, research, and social welfare initiatives with the motto knowledge, wisdom, and prosperity. We at ICRT are working with a mission to promote advancement and application of scientific researches and knowledge that benefit the society. In today's seminar, we will have two sessions. First session will be about right to life and liberty, a human right perspective. And second session will be about right of senior citizens, challenges, and way forward. Now, I will quickly go through the instructions for the participants. Webinar duration is 2 hours plus minus 15 minutes. Please follow the digital ethics and keep your mic off. Don't write unnecessary messages in chat box. There is no attendance link as attendance is automatically recorded. All candidates who will attend 75% of the time duration will get the certificate of participation. There will be total 2 sessions in today's program. If you have any question of honorable resource person and speakers, you could raise your hand or request yourself to unmute at the end of the session. We will unmute you. or you can write your questions in the chat box. Question answer session will be conducted towards the end of the session. Attendance and participation certificates will be issued within 10 to 15 days after the program. Please don't write unnecessary emails to ICRT before 10 days. For forthcoming programs of ICRT, you can visit our official website www.icrt.org.in. Certificates of the previous programs are dispatched. If you have not received the certificate, please do write us at icrtseminars@gmail.com. Also, there is one special announcement today that Department of English, INM, PG College, Meerut, and International Council for Education and Research Training, ICRT, are organizing one-day international multidisciplinary conference on contemporary global challenges and opportunities in education, language, science, and humanities on January 15, 2023 at Auditorium, INM PG College, Meerut, India, and also available in online mode. Applications are invited from professionals, academicians, social reformers, research scholars having teaching experience at school, college, university level, health professionals, teaching faculty, industry professionals, and social reformers for the felicitation of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award 2023 for excellence in education, distinguished achievements in education, innovation in academics, and social welfare for different disciplines. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award recognizes prominent personalities for their respected achievements, innovations, and contributions in their respective fields and society. The link of the registration for this conference will be shared in the chat box by Team ICRT. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Navneet Kaur, Executive Director, Education, ICRT. She is also Principal of Shri Ram Universal School, Ludhiana, CBSE Officer and Master Trainer. Dr. Navneet Kaur is an educator and leader with experience of more than 22 years in the field of education and more than 10 years in school administration and leadership. She is a PhD, Masters in Commerce, Masters in Education, and higher diploma in software engineering and B.Ed in yoga. She is also executive member of Sarojini Naidu Institute Research of Malaysia. She has participated in various workshops, seminars, conferences, FTPs, symposiums, and facilitated with several awards. Also, she is the editorial board member of universities of 11 countries. She is a lady with the words of wisdom, the backbone of ICRT. Your exceptional dedication, ma'am, the way you put your heart and soul in whatever you do is exemplary for all of us. I welcome our Executive Director of ICRT, Dr. Navneet Kaur, ma'am.
Thank you, Dilpreet, for appreciating, which was not there, but still I take it as a learner. Dilpreet, an amazing moderator of ICERT, who truly is an icon of beauty with brain. So she knows how to put things properly. Thank you so much, Dilpreet. God bless you. A proper educational institution sets people up to grow personally, professionally, aesthetically, morally, socially, and spiritually. It can awaken joy, curiosity, and a deep desire to solve problems and help others. This is what ICERT, International Council for Education, Research and Training, stands for. I, Dr. Navneet Kaur, Executive Director, Education, welcomes you all on behalf of the fraternity of ICERT on this auspicious day where whole universe is celebrating World Human Rights Day. Human Rights Day reminds us of our powers to stop any injustice or abuse by any authority. Let us come together to celebrate those powerful rights. I proudly welcome on board Dr. Daisy Alexander, Professor and HOD, Manipal Law School, Bengaluru, Ms. Sarbani Bhaumik, Assistant Professor, Amethi Law School, Amethi University, Kolkata, and Shri Shaukin Singh Vermachi, Senior Advocate, Punjab and Haryana High Court, Chandigarh. They all are learner dignitaries who are here to promote the key features of this auspicious day, that is dignity, freedom, and justice for all, which directly relates to the mission of ICERT, that is knowledge, wisdom, and prosperity. I also welcome each and every participant from every corner of the world. You truly are the true ambassadors of ICERT. We'll start the journey. Dilpreet, over to you.
Now, I would like to welcome our special guest of today, Shri Shaukin Singh Verma, Advocate, Punjab and Haryana High Court, Chandigarh. He has studied in Rajasthan and Kurukshetra University and has attended various seminars and conferences at national and international level. He has been an honorable member of ICRT. I would say it is so rare to meet a person who is at the zenith of his success and yet so humble and kind. You are not only a reservoir of knowledge, sir, but epitome of kindness, humility, and a soul unparalleled. Your thoughtfulness, your diligence, your wisdom, all are exemplary for all of us today here, sir. I would welcome you on the panel today, sir. Shri Shaukin Singh Verma, sir.
Thank
Over
you,
to
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, today's one-day international seminars occasion of human rights and ICRT provide the beautiful platform. All are connected through ICRT in several seminars, several states and other countries. Today, very good topic, dignity, freedom, justice. Today's our society's requirement of dignity, freedom, justice, and ICERT provide the knowledge and social connectivities and other improvement of the personalities and all of latest topic in societies in international, national, and today's topic is dignity, freedom, and justice is a good topic, and I brief the dignity and freedom and justice. Human rights is observed every year on 10th of December, the day of United Nations General Assembly is adopted in 1948, the Universal of the Declaration of the Human Rights. And after the human rights is the many persons they delivered the justice and rights and other and dignity, freedom and justice is a requirement to all human being as a human. And thank you and over to ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for being here. I want to put this in this way that in a difficult, confusing, and complicated situation, individuals and companies may find themselves desperately seeking the guidance of a well prepared and reliable legal professional. And, sir, you are one. I have met you several times when we were in Nepal. We spent together 4 to 5 days and have learned you thoroughly from you. You're such a wonderful advocate, legal advisor who has a great passion for the job, compassion for the clients, willingness to listen. That is very, very important. Strong writing ability, it is ICRT is really privileged to have such a eminent educationist advocate with us, where we are there, who can always, as a legal advisor, you guide us. And I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from you in future also, because when we have offline seminars, conferences, webinars, sir is always actively participant of that. It may be Nepal, it may be Kurukshetra, it may be Delhi, anywhere, any part of the world. Sir, thank you for being a part of ICRT. From the whole fraternity, I pay my gratitude to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. Now, I would like to introduce our first keynote and guest speaker of the today, Dr. Daisy Alexander. Dr. Daisy Alexander, as a professor and head of department, Manipal Law School, Bengaluru. Dr. Daisy Alexander completed her graduation, BSc and LLB, and post-graduation LLM in law from the University of Bombay in 1987, 91, and 93 respectively. She successfully completed her diploma from the 48th Graduate School at Bossy Ecumenical Institute, affiliated to the University of Geneva, Switzerland in 1999, and PhD in law in 2012 from the University of Mumbai. Dr. Daisy has an academic experience of over 2 decades. She started her career as a part-time lecturer from 1991 to 1996 while practicing law at High Court and City, Civil and Session Courts in Bombay. She then served as a course coordinator and research associate for Nove Project from 1996 to 1997 at NLSIU, Bangalore. She has held various positions of lecturer at Dr. Ambedkar College of Law, Mumbai from 1999 to 2004. She was visiting faculty for the LLM and PhD coursework program at the Department of Law, University of Mumbai from 2007 to 2019. She has served as in charge principal and principal from 2003 to 2012 and 2012 to 2018 respectively at Rizvi Law College, University of Mumbai, and further as a principal at Angel School of Law, University of Mumbai from 2018 to 19. Dr. Daisy was appointed as professor and head of department at Christ, deemed to be University, Pune Lavasa campus in 2019, wherein she commenced the LLM course and was a PhD guide and served the position till March 2022. She is also guest lecturer at Airlangga University, Indonesia. She has also been invited as a PhD referee in Delhi University. Dr. Daisy has also been a resource person for various forums. Dr. Daisy was awarded the Best Principal Award in Mumbai by the Rotary Club of Mumbai, Nariman Point District. She has extensively traveled nationally and internationally as a delegate, attending conferences and presenting papers on gender issues. Dr. Daisy has visited Lyon, Tizé, Paris in France, Colombo, Gale, Negambo in Sri Lanka, United Nations in Geneva, Zurich, Lausanne, Basel, Bossy in Switzerland, Milan, Vatican in Italy, Kuala Lumpur, Langkawi in Malaysia, Singapore, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Phuket, Bangkok in Thailand, Netherlands, London, Prague, Český Krumlov, Munich in Germany, Austria. She was in various committees on gender issues and conflict management. She has several article publications and few book chapters to her credit. She has organized several moot court competitions at national and international level and conferences as well. Today, such a dignitary will enlighten us on the topic of right to life and liberty, a human right perspective. We are honored, ma'am, to welcome on the board today here with us. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dilpreet ma'am. Thank you to Dr. Navneet ma'am. Thank you to ICRT, and it's a wonderful platform where you are really doing good work and you're inviting people around the world so that you can educate people on human rights. And this is a great platform. Thank you very much. Let me get into the topic. And thank you, Shaukinji, also for your topic. It was very warm and wonderful to hear you as well. Well, today we have the topic that is right to life and liberty. And I would be speaking with Indian perspective based on the human rights. We know the importance of the day today and how human rights is very important. So when we see our constitution, which is the supreme document of the country, the constitution, how it was made and for what, here we have that law is above everybody and we all follow the law. So when we talk about right to life and liberty under Article 21, the right to live a free and full and dignified life is one of the most basic principles of human existence. Every person is entitled to live their life on their own terms with no unfair interference from others. So when you talk about a successful democracy, that can be one that guarantees all citizens the right to protect their own life and liberty. So when in India we talk about right to protection of life and liberty, it's a fundamental right guaranteed under the Indian Constitution. Now, Part 3 of the Constitution talks about the fundamental rights where you can go to the court under the writs and claim it. And Part 4 talks about the directive principles of the state policy, which cannot be enforced, but that is the duty of the welfare state to grant it. So when we talk about the Part 3 of the Constitution of India, now this was in 1950, which was upheld. Here, the fundamental rights represent the foundational values. These are cherished by the people and they're granted against the actions of state. That no act of any state authority can violate any such right of a citizen except according to the procedure established by law. Now, Article 21 states, what does it state? No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. And this is known as right to life and personal liberty. When you talk about rights, we have socio-economic rights and we have civil and political rights. It's a civil and political rights which is granted to you and wherein you can claim that. But as far as socio-economic rights were there, we had few rights like right to environment, we had right to education, which is now a fundamental right. Now, this is under Article 21 when we say right to life and liberty, we're not talking about just you breathing your life. We're talking about a dignified life. We're talking about a liberty and a life where you can live well. That means you need a good job, you need money, you need to have a good education, you need to have a clean environment, you have to breathe properly, and you need to have a good housing. So all these socioeconomic rights would come in when you talk about Article 21. So this article prohibits the encroachment upon a person's right to life and personal liberty against the state. Now the state here refers to all entities having statutory authority, like the government, the parliament at the central and the state level, local authorities. So thus, violation of this right by private entities is not within its purview. Now, when you talk about terms life and personal liberty, this will encompass, this will include a wide variety of rights as far as the people are concerned. And this will be the result of the evolution of the interpretation of Article 21 by the courts over the years. So when you talk about right to life and personal liberty, it just doesn't include life and personal liberty. It includes a variety of rights where the courts have interpreted that under Article 21. As I told you, how education was brought in, environment was brought in, health was brought in. You need a good health as well. So here we should examine the various aspects, like how fundamental right, and we can look into the jurisprudential evolution, the science of the laws, how it evolved with respect to this concept, and what is the significance of this particular Article 21. Let's examine. I would go through a few case laws that would make it even more interesting. One of the case law was in 1978, This was Menka Gandhi versus Union of India. Now, let me go into the personal liberty and its meaning and scope, and then I can get into that. I'll begin with A.K. Gopalan's case, and then it becomes easier to go further. So the meaning of personal liberty with respect to a citizen in India, the scope is very wide. So if you see, it has a relatively narrower scope before the Menka Gandhi's case. And we talks about the liberty. Let's talk about A.K. Gopalan's case, which was in 1950. So what happened then? Now, this was A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras. This was a prevention of detention. So the facts were such: the petitioner, he was a communist leader. He was detained under the Preventive Detention Act of 1950. And he claimed that such detention was illegal, as it infringed upon his freedom of movement granted in Article 19(1)(d) of the Constitution of India, and thus also violated his personal liberty. This is granted by Article 21. Since freedom of movement should be considered a part of the person's personal liberty. Of course, if you are not able to move freely, what is the idea of having a personal liberty? But the court stated that in 1950, personal liberty meant liberty of the physical body. So it did not include the rights given under Article 19(1). Hence, personal liberty was considered to include some rights like the right to sleep, eat, etc. While the right to move freely was relatively minor and it cannot be included under one's personal liberty with restrictions. Now, this aspect, we had later another case of Karak Singh versus State of UP. And others, this was in 1964. So this particular case, so an expansion in the meaning of personal liberty. Now, here, personal liberty is curtailed. The petitioner in this case was accused of dacoity, but was released due to a lack of evidence against him. There was no evidence to prove that he committed the act of dacoity. So the Uttar Pradesh police then began surveillance over him. That included his domiciliary visits at night, periodical inquiries, verification of movements, and the like. So petitioner filed a writ petition challenging the constitutional validity of this action of the state, that his liberty is being curtailed. So the judgment was, it was held that the right to personal liberty, this constitutes not only the right to be free from restriction placed on one's movements, but also to be free from encroachment on one's private life. So this personal liberty was considered to include all the residual freedoms of a person's, which is not included in Article 19(1). So, however, what happened in Menka Gandhi in 1978? In Menka Gandhi versus Union of India, this proved to be a landmark case in the evolution of personal liberty. This greatly widened the scope of this right, which is granted under Article 21. Now, Menka Gandhi versus Union of India, this was right to travel. And this was in 1978. Now, the petitioner in this case was ordered by the Regional Passport Office, Delhi, to surrender her newly made passport within 7 days due to the central government's decision to impound it in public interest, in accordance with the Passport Act of 1967. So upon requesting a statement of the reasons for such impounding, the government, they replied that they could not furnish a copy of the same in the interest of the general public. A writ petition was filed by the petitioner challenging the government's decision of impounding and also of not providing the reasons. Of course, they have to provide reasons, as well as not allowing the petitioner to defend herself. Now, the judgment was here, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the right to travel and go outside the country must be included in the right to personal liberty. It stated that personal liberty given in Article 21 has widest amplitude and covered a variety of rights that related to personal liberty of a person. So the scope of personal liberty was hence greatly increased, and it was held to include all the rights granted under Article 21, as well as all other rights related to personal liberty of a person. So such a right could only be restricted by a procedural established by a procedure which is established by law and which had to be fair, just, and reasonable. It cannot, and not fanciful, oppressive, or arbitrary. It has to be fair, just, and reasonable. So hence the court adjudged in that case that the government action was not justified and there was no pressing reason for the impounding of the petitioner's passport, and it was a violation of her fundamental rights. And the principles of natural justice were violated as the petitioner was not given the opportunity to be heard. She has a right to be heard. That's called, whatever be the reason, she has to be heard. Since this landmark case, the courts have sought to give a wider meaning to personal liberty. The principles of natural justice have also been emphasized upon as any procedure which restricts the liberty of a person that must be fair, just, and reasonable. So in law, under principles of natural justice, we have a legal maxim in Latin, which is called as audi alterum partem, that you cannot condemn the other side without being heard. So every other person has a right to be heard, and that is under principles of natural justice. So you have to hear the other person, whether it's whatever be the reason. So without a fair trial, the question doesn't arise. So that is where it has to be fair, just, and reasonable. So that was about that. So now what is the, so when you talk about, we've seen that the interrelation between 14, 19, and 21 has evolved. These are the fundamental rights with the evolution in the meaning of personal liberty. So what is Article 14? Article 14 says that it grants equality before the law and an equal protection of the laws to all persons. In the Indian territory, it prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Now, Clause 1 of Article 19 grants all the citizens the right to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peaceably and form associations, to move freely and reside anywhere throughout the country, and to practice any profession, occupation, or trade. All of the clauses of this article allow the state to impose reasonable restrictions on the rights granted in the Clause 1 of Article 19. So in the interest of the sovereignty and the integrity of the India and the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency, morality, relations to contempt of court, defamation, or incitement to an offense. So when we talk about Article 19 and 21, they were held to be completely exclusive and separate from each other. The position changed slowly as personal liberty evolved to include all rights other than mentioned in Article 19. So they were considered complementary to each other. So if you see Menka Gandhi versus Union of India, this brought a sea change. The Supreme Court held that Article 19(1) and 21 are not mutually exclusive, as the right to life and personal liberty covers a wide variety of rights, some of which have been given additional protection under Article 19(1). So 19 and 21 go hand in hand, and the procedure established by the law restricting these rights should stand the scrutiny of other provisions of the Constitution as well, including Article 14, which talks about equality. So thus a law encroaching upon one's personal liberty must not only pass the test of Article 21, but also of Article 14 and 19 of the Constitution. So these three rights are hence interconnected, and they provide safeguards against any arbitrary actions of the government. They're meant to be read together and interpreted in accordance with each other. So the three of them grant basic human rights and freedom to the citizens of their immense collective importance. They've given them the name, the golden triangle in jurisprudence, that is the science of law. Now, when you talk about the scope of right to life and personal liberty, now we have had enough discussion over Article 21. So what exactly constitutes these rights today? So right to live with human dignity. It's not enough to ensure that a person has a right to live. An essential element of life is one's dignity and respect. Therefore, each person has been guaranteed the right to live with dignity, which means having access to the necessities of human life, as well as having autonomy over one's personal decisions. That's very important. So there was a case of Occupational Health and Safety Association versus Union of India. This happened in 2014. Sorry, this talks about the protection of health and strength of workers and their access to just and humane conditions of work, and they were taken as essential conditions to live with human dignity. So the Occupational Health and Safety Association versus Union of India, in this case, a non-profit organization, filed a petition seeking guidelines for occupational safety and health conditions in various industries, especially thermal power plants. This was in view of the various skin diseases, lung abnormalities, etc., suffered by their workers due to unhealthy working conditions. It also called for compensation to victims of occupational health disorders. So the court recognized the state's duty to protect workers from dangerous or unhygienic working conditions and remanded the matter to various high courts to check the issue of thermal power plants in their respective states. And the Supreme Court, in the case of, there was another one in the case of Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India. This was in 2018, stated that the right to dignity means the right to full personhood and includes the right to carry such functions and activities as would constitute the meaning, the expression should be meaningful of the human self. In this case, a very important aspect of human dignity was talked about, the control over one's own intimate relations, the control over one's own intimate relations. Now, this was about homosexuality. In this case, the petitioner NGO filed a writ petition challenging Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code 1860, as it criminalized sexual acts between LGBT persons, claiming that it was against the fundamental rights. The court, applying the principle of human dignity, said that Section 377 was violative of Articles 14, 15, and 19 and 21 of the Constitution to the extent that it criminalized consensual sexual acts of adults, that is, persons about the age of 18 years who are competent to consent in private. Hence, sexual acts between LGBT adults conducted with free consent of the parties involved were declared legal. As can be observed, human dignity is not a straitjacket idea. Rather, it involves all those rights and freedoms which enable a person to live life without encroachment upon his or her self-respect, pride, and safety. Then you talk about right to livelihood. That to survive, a person requires access to financial and material resources to fulfill various needs. So the law recognizes every person, whether man or woman, they have an equal right to livelihood, so that he or she may acquire the necessary resources like food, water, shelter, clothes, and more. No person deserves to live in poverty and squalor because of being deprived of the chance to earn for himself. So there was this case of Olga Tellis and others versus Bombay Municipal Corporation, and this was in 1986, and this talked about right to livelihood. Here what happened was, the petitioners in this case were slum and pavement dwellers in the city of Bombay. So Bombay have a lot of slum and pavement dwellers. Pavement are sidewalks for people to walk, pedestrians to walk, but then there'll be a lot of people living there. They would be having their hutments there. They will be cooking there. They'll be sleeping there. They'll be doing their business or selling fruits, vegetables, whatever over there itself. So because they don't have a house to live. So they filed a writ petition, and they would take bath, everything over there itself. They filed a writ petition against an earlier decision of the state of Maharashtra, and the Bombay Municipal Corporation was to forcibly evict dwellers and deport them, which led to the demolition of certain dwellings. And they challenged these actions on the grounds that evicting a person from his pavement dwelling or slum meant depriving of his right to livelihood, which should be considered as part of the constitutional right to life. Now, the court concluded that though the slum and pavement dwellers were deprived of their right to livelihood, the government was justified in evicting them as they were making use of the public property for private purposes. Because, as I told you, there were sidewalks for pedestrians to walk, and however, they should not be considered as trespassers as they occupied the filthy places out of sheer helplessness. It was ordered that any eviction would take place only after the approaching monsoon season, and the persons who were censused before 1976 would be entitled to resettlement. While the case failed to bring successful resettlement to the dwellers and, in fact, is sometimes cited as justification for eviction of people by the state, it did play its part in establishing the right to livelihood as a part of the fundamental right to life. That was an obicta dictum, which was like the observation of the judge in this particular matter, which brought this right to livelihood as fundamental right to life. Then you talk about right to privacy. Right to privacy sounds like a very basic and obvious right to possess, but for a long time, it was not recognized as a distinct right by the government because of not being mentioned explicitly by the drafters of the Constitution of India. Over time, there has been a growing recognition of a person's autonomy over his or her personal body, mind, and information which has been given due emphasis by the courts in various judgments. So the right to privacy for so mentioned in this particular case of R. Rajagopal versus State of Tamil Nadu in 1994. Now, in this case, a person convicted of murder wrote his autobiography in which he also disclosed his relationship with the prison officials. Dilpreet, if I'm taking more time, just signal me. I will stop. I'll conclude where I'm supposed to stop.
No, ma'am, we are really enjoying the session. You can continue.
Okay, just let me know because I might go on and on. So I will stop with the, okay. So in this particular Rajagopal case in Tamil Nadu case, this person was convicted of murder and he wrote his autobiography in which he also disclosed his relationship with the prison officials, and some of whom were his partners in crime. His wife sent it for publishing to the Tamil magazine Nakiran, but the prison officials interfered in the publication because their things would be out. The editors of the magazine filed a petition to restrain the government or the prison authorities from stopping the publication of the autobiography. Now, the court held that it was the right of the criminal Otto Shankar, his name was Otto Shankar, to whatever he wanted with his private information. Thus, the magazine could not be stopped from publishing what is called the autobiography of the criminal. This case set the stage for future judgments regarding the right to privacy and paved the path for it to be established as part of the fundamental rights granted under Part 3 of the Constitution of India. Now, the question arises, is right to privacy an absolute right? Although right to privacy is one of the most essential rights of a person, especially in a modern democracy, it is not absolute and untouchable right anymore. You know, your UDHR, your cards, you have your PAN cards, you have so many of those informations which are not just with you. You talk about it as right to privacy, but then that's right to information on the other side. So there are certain situations where reasonable restrictions can be placed on this right of a person for a greater good. So there was one more case. This was one Mr. X versus one Hospital Z. We don't want to name that. This happened in 1998. In this case, the appellant in this case was found to be HIV positive. When his blood sample was tested, this fact was disclosed by the hospital to others without the appellant's express consent. Due to such disclosure, the appellant's proposed marriage to Ms. Y was called off and he was shunned by society. The aggrieved person approached the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, claiming that there was a breach of confidentiality on the part of the hospital, but his complaint was dismissed. The appellant then approached the Supreme Court, contending that the duty of care of the medical professionals as well as his right to privacy were violated. So the court stated that the appellant's right to privacy was superseded by Ms. Y's right to know such a material fact about the person that she was about to marry. This was bound to affect her life as well. It was further held that a medical professional's duty to maintain confidentiality could be breached in cases where public interest was at stake. So if it's in the interest of public, then that confidentiality will be diluted. There was a telephone tapping, an invasion to right to privacy. In today's digital world, right to privacy has acquired a new meaning. In a world where your finger controls everything you put out for everyone else to see, Can you imagine your personal information be secretly spied on by someone? Yes, you have your Apple phones, you have your various phones, and you say you just have to do one and the entire information is going to some place and all the informations are being taken away. So where is your right to privacy? In the 90s, telephone tapping of private conversations by the state became a much talked about issue in the case of People's Union for All Civil Liberties versus Union of India in 1997. And what happened in this case was a petitioner, a voluntary organization. They challenged the constitutional validity under Section 5, subsection 2 of the Indian Telegraph Act 1885, which empowered the state or state government or its authorized officer to intercept and record messages in case of public emergency or in public interest. This came in the wake of the report on telephone tapping of politicians, which showed that many interceptions were not backed by proper authorizations. In many cases, no proper records or logs of the same were maintained. So the court held the interception can be made only by specific top government officials, only when it is necessary, and it should not exceed a total of 6 months. The copies of such intercepted messages should be destroyed as soon as they are no longer useful. Recognizing a person's right to privacy, it ordered the formation of a review committee to check that such interception was not contravention of Section 5, subsection 2 of the Telegraph Act 1885, and if it was, the messages shall be destroyed immediately. Then comes the right to privacy and Aadhaar card. So one of the most important judgments related to right to privacy came in the case of Justice K.S. Puttaswamy, retired, versus Union of India in 2015. And this case established the right to privacy as a fundamental right granted to the citizens by the Constitution. Now, what happened in this case? It was brought by a retired Karnataka High Court justice. He was a High Court judge before a 9-judge constitutional bench challenging the government scheme of making the Aadhaar card. That is a uniform system of biometrics-based identity card for all citizens. He claimed that it was a violation of the right to privacy. And the fact that there were no strict data protection laws, and we still don't have in India, meant that people's personal information could be misused. The Attorney General argued that the Constitution did not guarantee a separate right to privacy. So the bench unanimously held that right to privacy was a part of one's right to life, granted under Article 21, and it included the right to keep personal information private, while it upheld the constitutional validity of the Aadhaar card and it struck down certain provisions of the Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies and Benefits and Services Act 2016. So this was that. Now, when you talk about right to health and medical assistance, this is right to life, of course, cannot be upheld if every person is not given access to proper health and medical assistance. It is the most primary prerequisite to living a full life. However, some doctors and medical institutions, they hesitate to assist the ailing persons due to fear of long formalities, complications, especially in medico-legal cases. So there was a case of Pandit Parmanand Katara versus Union of India in 1989. Here a scooterist faced an accident upon crashing with a car, but upon being brought to a hospital, he was refused treatment and directed to another hospital 20 kilometers away due to non-occurrence of legal and police formalities. A writ petition was filed in public interest to make it an obligation for doctors to provide medical assistance immediately and not to have wait for completion of formalities. Yes, this used to happen where they would not take in private hospitals and they would say you go to a government hospital. It happened to me also. I met with an accident and where I was unconscious and I was taken, was years back, around say 40 years back. And I was taken to a hospital where they refused and they said you have to go to a government hospital. And the government hospital that was on strike, then they took another hospital. Thank God I was saved and I'm here today. So, but that has changed now and it was recognized under Article 21 renders paramount importance to the preservation of human life. That is the obligation of all medical professionals to give immediate health assistance to all patients without being put under any legal impediment. It was decided that no medical professional shall be harassed for any investigation or he would not be asked to testify in the court unless necessary and absolutely relevant. Thus, this case freed the medical professionals from any legal restrictions and thereby made it an obligation and duty for them to provide immediate assistance to patients to uphold the right to life. The right to sleep. All of us love sleeping. Yes, but many are not aware that the right to sleep is a distinct part of one's fundamental rights, which protects against any actions of the state leading to an unlawful deprivation of a person's sleep. So there was a case of Ram Leela Maidan versus incident versus Home Secretary and others in 2012. This led to the establishment of this particular right. In this case, a yoga training camp was to be held in Ram Leela Maidan during June 2011. But on June 4th, it turned that into a hunger strike against black money and corruption led by Baba Ramdev. The protest took place all day, and at 12:30 at night, where all the protesters were sleeping, a large number of CRPF, Delhi Police Force, and Rapid Action Force personnel reached the venue to bring the gentleman out. A scuffle ensued. This scuffle ensued between these personnel and the supporters of the sadhus, which ended in throwing tear gas shells on the people. The court acknowledged that sleep is an essential part of a healthy life and a necessity for the maintenance of individual peace, that it held that every person is entitled to sleep as comfortably, as freely as he breathes. If any person's sleep is disturbed without any reasonable justification, it amounts to torture and a violation of his human rights, therefore making the sleeping persons flee and causing mayhem at the location was as unlawful, since there was no illegal activity taking place there. So I think if I'll go on and on, it will just go, there's about bonded labor system, there's about right to die, euthanasia. So I think I would stop here, and this is all about the rights, and these are the cases which is granted by the courts based on Article 21, based on the right to life and personal liberty. And so it is already there, and we should be enjoying it, and we should be protecting it, safeguarding it, ensuring it. And that is what the part of the government. And you have the writs where you can file under Article 2226 in the High Court or 32 in the Supreme Court. And this is what about the fundamental rights as we're talking. And this is what about the right to life and liberty, which has a variety of rights, which is granted to the citizens, and which makes the right to life and liberty a dignified right to life and liberty as part of our human right. There's a saying like, where your nose begins, my human right ends, where my nose begins, your human right ends. So this is which is granted by us. And this is on this day, when we commemorate the human rights in the truest sense, we all should be practicing this and respecting the other with human right and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a beautiful, enlightening session full of knowledge and human rights, along with their articles and sections that let us understand the human rights very deeply and its true importance in our lives. Your real life case examples were so enticing and so relevant that make the complete session so captivating. I was literally taking the notes for all the facts and figures that you were telling. So it was a beautiful session. I would like to invite Dr. Navneet ma'am to pay the gratitude to our resource person.
I truly acknowledge and appreciate what Dilpreet has said. Human rights rest on human dignity. The dignity of the man is an ideal worth fighting for and worth dying for. And Dr. Daisy Alexander, the way you have explained, especially personal liberty and expansion, it was really a new vision to analyze for us. We all need to treat each other with human dignity and respect. As Dilpreet just said, one of your examples about Otto Shankar, I really felt this case was really a great work of research for all of us. The way you have explained Article 21, Article 14, Article 19, oh my God, what a new preface given to us. I must add up here, because we are globally present over here. For being Indians or the participants of India, they can connect with that. But for each participant over here, we must understand our constitution. We must understand the articles laid over there. Along with that, we should have a knowledge of UN constitution and the articles given over there, which is very, very important. Our awareness need to be very, very huge. Then only we can help each other. Opportunity implies the amazingness of human rights all over the place. Our help goes to the individuals who battle to pick up those rights or keep them. And for that, I think Dr. Alexander has really done justice by giving so much of information to us. Thank you, ma'am, for being on this platform and enlightening us with great articulation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Navneet ma'am, and thank you very much, Dr. Dilpreet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would quickly like to invite our second keynote and guest speaker of today, Ms. Sarbani Bhaumik. She is currently an assistant professor, Amity Law School, Amity University, Kolkata. She has done BA LLB honors from Department of Law, University of Calcutta, LLM in Business Law from Amity University, Kolkata, LLM in Constitutional and Administrative Law from the Department of Law, University of Calcutta. She has cleared State Eligibility Test, West Bengal in 2019 and is pursuing PhD from Raiganj University, West Bengal. She has attended various national and international seminars and FTPs. She has also accredited 14 publications to her name, which are Scopus and Web of Science listed. She has been keynote speaker at 2 events and supervised 8 dissertations. She has also been external examiner for post-graduation studies, Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, and Kanyashri University, West Bengal. That is the only public university for the women in West Bengal. Today, she will enlighten us on the topic Rights of Senior Citizens, Challenges and Way Forward. We are immensely pleasured and to welcome the ma'am on the board today here with us. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible as well as visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good evening and hello, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Sandeep Kumar, for the honor, Dr. Dilpreet Kaur and Dr. Navneet Kaur for the wonderful moderation and the lovely introduction. And my gratitude as well as greetings to Dr. Alexander and Advocate Verma. Today on the 10th December, first of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to greet each and everybody. Very happy World Human Rights Day. The thing is, like nowadays we celebrate too many of days, like we celebrate our birthdays, anniversaries, even Valentine's Day, so many days, but somewhere or the other, we actually forget to celebrate the World Human Rights Day with a great pomp and show, which we actually do in the first instance, because World Human Rights Day is all about us. It's about our identity. It's all about our dignity. It's all about realization of our own rights. We should realize this right throughout, and not only when our rights actually get influenced. So moving forward to my presentation and the topic of discussion, do I have the permission to share my screen? I would like to request Dr. Kaur.
Yes, ma'am, surely. Actually, you are completely audible, but we would also like to see you. So can you turn on your camera, please, ma'am?
Can't you?
Dilpreet, she's there. She has opened 2, I think, sites. So she's there on one and one
Okay.
she has. Yeah, she's there.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, please, ma'am, you can share your screen. You're already a co-host.
Okay. No, I think it's only one permission. Okay.
I'll request ICRT to give her both the space. Yeah, it's there, ma'am. We can see.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So my topic for discussion is rights of the senior citizens, challenges and way forward. And
Ma'am,
moving
your
towards,
screen has not started. Please try again. It has not started.
has it now?
Yeah, now it's there. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So moving forward, I would again like request each and everybody to take a moment to actually thank all those people who have actually been there for us and who have actually contributed for our success till now and yet to be. For me, it's my parents, Matridevo Bhava and Pitridevo Bhava, a quote from Tritiya Upanishad, because they have immensely contributed for what I am today. And even though if it is not a parent, be it any legal guardian or anybody else who have like contributed for our success, let's take a moment to actually thank those persons. The reason being is life, time, and age is something which is inevitable and it's not within our control. As time flies, we also age. And this is an inevitable natural life circle that one day or the other, we too will age. And if we do not actually pay respect to our elderly people now, our next generation will not learn from us and they will exactly do the same what we are doing today. So when we talk about human rights, it must not be only extended to the child or men or women. It should be extended to each and every person, like starting from the person who is in the womb who is in the womb of his mother or her mother, and till the end of the life of that particular person, till the death of that particular person, and then only we can absolutely say there is a realization of human rights. And when I am saying this, the reason for why I'm saying this is because again, we also will age and we will also step into that particular category. If we do not realize, if we do not talk about the rights of the senior citizen now, it may happen that when we will be in those categories, even we will not be left with any kind of rights, even we will be like victimized, and there will be no kind of maintenance or protection in us. So basically, the senior citizens, they are not the unproductive or some kind of burden to the family or the economy of the nation. They are in fact the most potential source of knowledge and the most significant person in our life. Maybe they won't be able to help us in way kind of a technological ways or maybe in kind of a financial way, but what they have is a matured mind full of knowledge and experience. They might have a decaying body, but that source of knowledge is always an constant support, a moral support, as well as every kind of support that we might need whenever we step into our any kind of decision, so that we do not fall prey to any kind of false decision or anything, because these are the persons who are in constant help and they always keep us blessing at every moment of our life. But even saying that, we often find there is a series of like abuse, be it a mental abuse or any kind of physical abuse or economic abuse. They are constantly being the victims in the society only because they are comprising a vulnerable group of the society. Now, to realize why they are becoming the repeated victims of any kind of abuses, we can actually analyze two types of theories. The first one is the Maslow hierarchy of basic needs theory, and the next one is routine activity theory. Now, if we look at the first theory, the hierarchical of the basic needs theory, let me tell you that the senior citizens are not just like a kid. Like they do not have much expectations in their life. They have very limited needs, a very less expectations in their life. Like you give just like a baby, you just give them a lollipop, they will be happy. You just give them an ice cream, they will be happy. And just like a children, if you talk about the first set of needs that a senior citizen have, that is a psychological safety, love, and esteem. Now, what I mean by psychological safety is they just, in the back of the mind, they just try to think whether they have sufficient food to eat and whether they can sleep soundly at night or not. They don't want to take any kind of pressure or tension because they are incapable of because of their age, and they just need to get that kind of security that they have a food to eat and a place to sleep. Love, because when they were young, they have tried their best to spread the love. And just like a kid, we need to express the love to them. And when we do not express the love to them, they think that they are not being loved, actually. And the next one is esteem. For the esteem, we should actually keep we should help them to keep their esteem high, because when they were young, they were in a high esteem that everybody will ask them, or everybody will pay heed to their decisions. They will ask a kind of take advice from them. Even if we do not adhere to their advice, at least let's ask a particular person what is their opinion. This sense, this asking actually gives them that boost to their self-esteem, and they think that they are still belonging to their family. They still can connect to the family. But the main problem is, in most of the cases, we fail to provide them these things. Sometimes, we actually give them so much of tension, or so much of mental pressure. They cannot go for a sound sleep. Maybe they are not getting the nutritious food, or they are not getting hold of the food that they actually need. We are unable to express the love to them, and that is why they think that their needs, the basic needs, are not getting fulfilled. But if the first set of safety is actually provided to them, in that case, they have a second set of needs, and only it comes into the question when the first set is actually getting realized. The next set is about the medical assurance and the financial security. Now, I can just give you a small example. This happened to me just 2 days before. I was just returning from my the office when I heard that a particular girl was talking over the phone to one of her relatives, saying that she has admitted her mother to the Tata Medical Cancer Hospital in Kolkata, and she was having a tough time to convince her mother to get her admitted. Now, why? Because when she told the reason to her relative, I heard that she said that her mother was extremely worried that how she is going to cope up with the medical expenses. So it is a kind of if we can give some kind of medical assurity to them that you do not have to worry, in that case we can actually make them feel very comfortable in their lives, and there will be no such kind of tension that they have to because with age there some kind of incapabilities actually approaching. But if we can give that medical assurance, in that case they will not feel so low and lonely and feel abused. And the next one is financial security. It is not about that every time or every day they actually need any kind of financial support, because if we think logically, they have nothing to do with money, because if every basic amenities are actually provided by the children or the legal the heirs, in that case they actually do not, the question of financial security does not arise. But still, we should actually give some amount of money just to show them the sense, or just to make them feel a security financially, that they do not have to worry, and we have sufficient means where we can give you financial security. This is the first instance where we can see that if their basic needs are not getting fulfilled, they are actually getting victimized. They feel that they are actually being marginalized. And in many cases, it is actually true where we fail to give them this basic needs, what they actually need. And this is the main reason for their victimization. Coming to the next theory is the routine activity theory. The first point that is worth mentioning is suitable and key targets. Now, if I would have been asking us or seeking help from my brother or any kind of a friend, I would have asked them in a very formal way. And if they would have denied, I would have agreed to it in a very civilized manner. But in most of the case, what we see is we actually take the advantage of the infirmity or the incapability of the senior citizen is actually having, that is their bodily incapacity. So that makes them a very easy target, that whenever we are not getting anything, we actually try to extort things by force or something. And that has become very routinely nowadays, because we try to actually exert some kind of pressure on them, be it mentally or physically, to get the things done what we wanted in our favor. And the next is the motivated greed. Now, once a particular person steps into the age of 60s or 70s, we actually get motivated that the person, whatever property the particular person is having, maybe the person is going to die after the 5 years or the next 10 years, and then we will get hold of this property. And we are so nowadays so motivated to that thing. And when the particular happens to stay longer, then some kind of ill treatment or inhuman treatment actually creeps in, because our that target was not getting fulfilled. So this is the basic two theories of victimization, why the senior citizens are very often becoming the victims of such kind of abuse and ill treatment. Now, moving towards the challenges, even though we have laws we will be discussing in my next slide, if we talk about the challenges, what the senior citizens are actually facing. So I have distributed under 4 heads: social, economic, social, economic, cultural, and legal challenges. So talking about the social challenges first, the first challenge that happens to creep in is the healthcare. Now, with the advancement of the technology and scientific research nowadays, we have better healthcare policies, but that too comes at a particular price. And every time a senior citizen or his children is not in a position to afford the same. And that is the first challenge that we see when a particular family member starts neglecting the particular person, because the senior citizen becomes dependent on a particular medicine or a kind of a treatment which comes at a price, and they start neglecting them and consider them as a economic burden. The next one is the financial support, infrastructural support. So if we talk about the infrastructural support, we do not have much kind of daycare facilities, or we do not have any kind of old age homes. If we talk about the reservation of seats in case of a bus or something, these are very minimum and very minimal. And that is why a old or an elderly person finds it very difficult to actually live their living in this fast moving world. If they have to travel, they cannot travel at the office hours. They have to wait when the rush will go down. So they are not in a position to move or live their life very free. The next point is the changing patterns of the family. We are pretty much familiar nowadays that the joint family system has heavily disintegrated into the nuclear family system. And when we are talking about nuclear family system, once the particular children get higher education or better opportunities in a particular other state, the particular person happens to migrate, leaving behind their parents. And over here, there is a kind of an emotional and a gap that actually creeps in, which actually we can see that there is a gap between a communication between the two generations, and the elderly people start feeling marginalized. The next one is social support. Now, social support is something that we actually recall state for such kind of support to give some kind of basic amenities, basic kind of say for example, free medical aid or free legal aid. But the thing is, it's not that the state do not provide us such kind of support, but the thing is, it is very much not very apparent to the senior citizens. Maybe they are not even aware of the fact that there are certain schemes that is actually available for their benefit. Now, moving towards the economic challenges, the first one is the age of retirement. Even today, there is a practice of age of retirement that after 60 or 65 years of age, a particular person cannot work. Now, age is just a number. So, age should not be considered as a criteria for a particular person to work. It should always depend upon the capacity of the person and not at a number of a particular person. It may happen that due to a chronic disorder or a kind of a chronic disablement, a particular person becomes incapacitated to work at the age of 50, and it may happen that even at the age of 70, a particular person is of sound mind and of a healthy health, and the particular person is still at a workable condition. So it should be always at the instance of the capacity to work and not at the age of retirement, because trust me, nobody wants to be economically dependent on anybody. And that is my next point is all about. Nobody wants actually to be economic dependent. Everybody wants to be independent so that the particular person can actually live their life freely. And if the particular person or the particular senior citizen have an abundant property or a financial support, we see as the age there is an instances of economic abuse as well. They try to, dependents, they try to actually abuse the senior citizen for the extortion of that particular property or any kind of monetary, any kind of money or any kind of funds that they are having. They try to extort it through pressure or any kind of caution. Now, next we have the post-retirement benefit scheme. In India also we have certain post-retirement benefit scheme, but like for example, we have Annapurna schemes where we give 10 kg of rice or wheat every month for free. Then we have like Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme. But again, this scheme says that a person above the age of 60 is entitled to get only 200 rupees. Now, 200 rupees is something at today's age, it might not be sufficient for every people. So this scheme needs to be revised. All the schemes that is available needs to reach a ramification. We need to relook this kind of scheme. Now, coming to the cultural challenges in India, still we have those cultural stigma that a parent always thinks about the future of their children, and they think that if they bring a complaint against them to the police station, their future will get spoiled. What will the neighbors talk about? They actually feel so frightened that they do not even complain about the violence that is actually going on them, so as to just to protect their own children. So there is always a strong stigma, cultural stigma that still plays, which cannot be uprooted from the minds of the senior citizen, which is actually making them very vulnerable and exposed to abuse. Now, next is the breakdown of joint family system. Since there has been a cultural breakdown, before there was a signs of joint family where they used to have the like age members where they could share their feelings. But right now they are actually left very lonely and very marginalized, where they have nobody to actually express their feelings. Now, there are certain, when I was like going through this, like the rights and like the liberties of the senior citizen, I happened to came across this particular traditions that also shocked me. These are certain anti-elderly tradition that is practiced among the people of South India, particularly in the state of Tamil Nadu and Telangana, that is a group that comes under the Jainism sect. So what I found is these are a kind of a passive euthanasia that they practice. In Thalai Kuntal, what they do is when a particular person is continuously, like for a very long period, they are actually exposed to some kind of medical ailment, they perform some kind of passive euthanasia. There are three systems, but what they do is, the first one is they pour milk into the nostrils of an elderly person and suffocating them to death. The next practice that they follow is they massage hot oil in the hair, and which raises the body temperature and the heart fever. And the third practice is they give a hot oil bath, and there is like they ask the particular person after the oil bath to drink excessive tender coconut water, which again increases the heart rate, and the particular person eventually dies. So whenever a particular person or a particular elderly person becomes a burden to the society, or is actually like continuously suffering from any medical disorder, they perform such kind of practices. And in Jainism, again, there is three types of like practices that they follow. In the first one, the elderly person secludes himself from the outside world and reduces the intake of food and water, and eventually starves into death. And in the next instance, they like sleep on the floor and do not take any food and they starve into death. And in the but they move, they move about, but they just sleep on the floor and they do not take any food. And the third category, they stand like a tree without any like a drop of water as well as a piece of food or something, and they eventually die. So these are certain anti-elderly traditions, though they are illegal, but still they are being followed in certain communities in India, which we can say is a kind of a passive like euthanasia. Now, there are certain legal challenges as well, like Dr. Alexander, like she had raised us with different types of rights that we have under our Indian Constitution. Let's think about, let's see what are the challenges they face, even though we have some rights. Now, talking about the first one, that is the right to life, as she has mentioned, it's not about a mere human existence. Okay, so there are many things that is actually added to the meaning of rights to life. So when we are actually taking those away from a particular person's life, obviously the particular person will get demotivated, and since they are particularly physically ill and physically incapacitated, they actually their moral values goes down so low that they think of any kind of passive euthanasia. The next one is freedom from torture and inhuman treatment. Now, inhuman treatment does not mean always using foul words, or like torture does not mean always giving some kind of physical implication on the body. It may be different types of inhuman treatment, like not even talking to the elderly person, ignoring the particular person, not giving the food which the particular person likes to eat, like deliberately neglecting or not letting anybody to speak to that particular person will also amount to inhuman torture. Next is rights to privacy. Now, this is the most funniest part I find, because when we talk about privacy, once we turn 18 or once we get married, we talk too much of privacy. We need separate rooms, we need separate cupboards and everything. And once we age, there is no question of privacy that is actually spoken of. We are asked to share our bedrooms, like the elderly person had to share their bedrooms with others. Others in the means basically the children of that particular family, they have to share their rooms with them, they have to share their cupboards with them, as if they have no shame at all, as if they have no such private moments, as if they require no privacy at all. So their right to privacy is like heavily actually damaged. The next is freedom from arbitrary detention. In case of arbitrary detention, we find this: suppose we pick up a particular fight with a particular a family member, we also ask our senior members or the elderly person of our family not to talk with that particular person and stay secluded, and not to participate in any kind of family functions or anything. Or suppose I have to go for a particular party or something, and I will ask the senior citizen to look after the home, because as if he has or he has the only duty is to take care of the home and nothing else, as if the particular person has no social life at all. Now, right to residence, as like I said, that there are more instances of migration nowadays. Now, we children actually very seldomly we actually give a opportunity to decide that where actually they want to stay, whether they want to stay back at their ancestral property or they want to move with us. So sometimes we just pressurize them to come and move with us as if they do not have any rights to residence. Right to family life, in many cases, they are not very less opportunities are actually given them for the social exposure, where they can have their own families, or sometimes we also deny them a kind of a remarriage, as if if they want a partner in their family and if they wish to choose a particular person in their life, we children, as a children, we never support them. We feel ashamed that why they will marry at that particular age, why at the old age. But even we fail to recognize or fail to realize that even they need a partner in their life. Next, talking about the fair and speedy judicial determination. So in case of fair and speedy determination, though we have the 2007 Act, which says about the 90 days disposal. But again, in certain cases, 90 days is also not even sufficient. It must be taken care of that as fast as possible. A trial must be concluded and rights must be restored. And finally, the social, economic, cultural, and political rights. Since at the beginning of my the discussion, I had mentioned that they are the potential storehouse of all knowledge as well as experience. So any kind of social activities, economic, cultural, and be it political kind of experience, they have seen the most of it. So involving them is the most intelligent thing to do, rather than marginalizing them to a very sideline and not taking their advice at all. So these are the challenges which I found pertinent. Moving forward to the laws that we have in India for realizing the rights of the senior citizens. So first one is Article 41 of the Indian Constitution, which talks about right to work, education, and public assistance. But again, it comes under the Chapter 4, that is Directive Principle of State Policy, and thus it is not an enforceable right. Moving to the next one is Section 20 of Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956, where it says that it is the responsibility of the children to maintain their parents. But what if the parents have died when a particular child was at an age of 4 or 6, and the grandparents have actually brought that, raised that particular or nurtured that particular child? So no such provision has been mentioned for the maintenance of the grandparents. So that is a flaw in this particular act. Moving towards the Muslim law, a Muslim law has a very unique feature. It has included the maintenance of the relatives under a condition if they are poor, but at least they actually maintain the relatives. They have a provision to maintain their relatives as well. Under Section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code, it talks about the maintenance of their parents, but the maximum amount that can be paid for the maintenance of parents has been limited to ₹500 only. Again, I don't think this is something sufficient which can actually provide the maintenance of the parents. Coming to the next section is Section 3 of the Domestic Violence Act, which provides the protection against any kind of forceful and unlawful demands from any woman, elderly person. And the most dedicated act that we have in India is the Maintenance and Welfare of Senior Citizen Act 2007. And this slide talks about the whole structure of the act. The Chapter 1 talks about the definition. The most important definition over here is the definition of the children, which includes both son as well as daughter, adoptive as well as natural, and even the legal, any kind of legal representative, whoever would be the heir of the property of such elderly people, will be included within the definition of children. Coming to the parents definition, it will include both mother and father, be natural and adoptive, and also include grandparents, grandmother as well as grandfather. Now, talking about maintenance, basically it has given us the 4 basic amenities, that is food, clothing, shelter, and medical treatment. Now, moving to the next chapter, that is maintenance of parents and senior citizens. It talks about that a particular senior citizen or parent can institute a suit for claiming maintenance. Not only a parent and senior citizen, it also empowers any other person on the behalf of the senior citizen, and as well as the tribunal may or on the suo motu manner can institute a case of suit for the maintenance of the parents and the senior citizen. Now, this particular case must be disposed within 90 days, and provided under any kind of emergency, it can be extended to next 30 days, and that would be the maximum limit, and the case must be disposed of. Now, talking about Chapter 3, that talks about the establishment of old age homes. The Act prescribes for at least one old age home in every district, now having 150 senior citizen capacity. Chapter 4 talks about the provision of medical care of senior citizens, which talks about that all hospitals, be it like fully or partially funded by the government, must have a geriatric care unit, dedicated geriatric care unit, with a particular medical officer who has a special experience in geriatric care for the better protection and the medical care of senior citizens. Chapter 5 talks about the protection of life and property of senior citizens. Under this, a proper sensitization of the act, of this particular act, has been provided in all platforms. And a very remarkable section, that is section 23, talks about that if any senior citizen have already transferred a property in the favor of his child or the legal heir with a condition for the lifetime protection and the maintenance, and after receiving the property, if such person fails or ignores to provide the protection and maintenance, immediately that property shall be restored to such senior citizen, which gives immense protection to the property and the rights of the senior citizen. Finally, in chapter 4, it talks about the offences and the procedure of trial. The punishment that has been prescribed is 3 months of imprisonment and a fine of 5,000 rupees or both, and the offence is incognizable offence and a bailable bail. And chapter 7 talks about the miscellaneous provisions. Now, having said all this, we think that since this is an act of 2007, it requires certain modifications in the act. We have come a very way forward. So certain kind of amendments are actually needed in this particular act. And certain proposed amendments has been proposed in the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Citizens Bill 2019. Now, let's see what are the proposed amendments. The first one is, it has widened the scope of the definition of maintenance, wherein apart from the food, clothing, shelter, and medical care, life of dignity, this particular word has been added. Now, it is not only a mere existence, it should be a life of dignity. Not only normal food or something, it should be given with a sense of dignity. The next one is, the proposed amendment has incorporated the well-being both physically as well as mentally. The third one is the mode of submission of the application. Now, when we are standing in this digital era, online mode is very much essential. So now the new proposed bill actually proposes for an online mode of submission as well. The next one is the maximum limit that has been provided for maintenance under this particular act, the Act of 2007, was ₹10,000. Now, again, in certain cases, 10,000 must be more than sufficient. In certain cases, it might not be at all sufficient. So the new bill, the proposed bill, have actually removed the maximum limit of 10,000 rupees, and they have stated that it's better that we should take cognizance of the living standard of the senior citizen and the economic condition of the children to decide the limit of the maintenance for the senior citizen. The next and one of the very remarkable proposed amendment that has been included is in the definition of children, son-in-law as well as daughter-in-law has been incorporated. Previously, it was only son and daughter and legal heirs, but now when we are standing in an area where we are having only a single parent child, in most of the cases we are a single parent child, in that case, the inclusion of son-in-law and daughter-in-law is extremely important. Okay, because even they are somewhere or they're responsible to take care of the senior citizens of the nation. The next one is the expedient disposal of the cases. In this case, it has been stated that if any senior citizen is above 80 years of age, so instead of 90 days of disposal time limit, it should be reduced to 60 days. So 30 days, previously, it should be disposed of. The next one is the standardization, registration, and quality accreditation of old age home, daycare homes and home care services. Now, Previously, in
Excuse
the
me, ma'am.
2007 Act, we had only the provision of old age home. But the new proposed bill has come up with three different factors. One is old age homes, one is daycare homes, and home care service. So they have established three types of care for the protection and the maintenance of the elderly people. And not only that, each and every old age home must be must adhere to the required standard, as the central government would pass the order from time to time. All the old age homes must be compulsory registered, and most importantly, each and every old age home needs to pass the quality accreditation. Otherwise, it might happen that the care facilities that is being provided by the old age homes is actually very demeaning and very low graded. And to maintain that, a quality assurance has to be provided by each and every old age homes or daycare homes. Now, next is another provision that has been proposed so as to stop the privilege claim. So previously, the right to appeal was only reserved to the senior citizens. Now this right to appeal has been given to the children as the relatives as well. So this is something again which is very significant to know. The next one is the special police unit for senior citizens. Now the new proposed bill talks about not only a nodal officer but also a proper dedicated special police unit. Why? Because whenever a particular senior citizen is actually aggrieved by any kind of abuse, be it mental or physical, what the first thing that comes to their mind is to go to the police station, wherein out of nervousness or anything, they fail to express what they actually wanted to say. So a special police unit will be better if they can actually give special care to such kind of victims of such any kind of abuse. The next provision is again a very important and a remarkable proposal that has been made. That is a single helpline number. Every time it is not possible for a senior citizen to move out of their house and get their complaint registered. So it becomes easy if they have a helpline number, and it is actually shown in each and every social media platform, so that it would be easier for them just to dial the number and seek help. The next thing that has been made is the punishment has been made more stringent. Now the punishment that has been prescribed is 6 months instead of 3 months, and the compensation has been raised to 10,000 instead of 5,000 that was there previously in the 2007 Act. And lastly, previously the geriatric care was limited only to government hospitals, fully or partially aided. But in this case, even the concept of private hospitals has been included, depending upon the heavy pressure that the government hospitals are actually facing nowadays. So even the private hospital should start a proper care unit for the elderly people as geriatric care unit. Now, moving forward, even though I have pointed out certain shortcomings in this act, but however, there are certain notable judicial proceedings that have been pronounced from time to time, which have actually expanded the rights of the senior citizens. The first one I would like to say is Vinod Anand versus Deputy Commissioner from Appellate Tribunal and Wars 2016. In this case,
I request Sarvani Bhaumik ma'am to please conclude, because though the session is really going very well and beautifully you are explaining, but I'll like you to conclude because we have to take question rounds and a concluding session.
Oh.
I'm so sorry interrupting you in between.
Okay, ma'am. So in that case, I will, do I have 10 minutes? Or should I conclude it within 5?
Only 2 to 3 minutes, ma'am, please. Thank you.
Only 2 to 3 minutes. Okay.
Take 4 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, so due to the paucity of time, I'm not going through all the judicial pronouncements, but just a significant one that I think I should mention over here That is the right to residence that has been provided under the Domestic Violence Act 2005 to every daughter-in-law. But in Darshana versus State of Government of NCT of Delhi, it has been stated that if the daughter-in-law, like in case of any misbehavior, even a daughter-in-law can be evicted from the residence. So under no circumstances any kind of abuse or any kind of harassment will be entertained, which shall not be entertained by the court of law in case of any kind of any senior citizen. Now I'll conclude with the suggestions. Okay, so very quickly, so the powers of the tribunal, though on suo motu manner, has been like very lightly utilized. So it should be more, if possible, utilized by the tribunal. The legal assistance, though we have now the scheme of 2016, again, it has been very seldomly and not very apparently being utilized. So let's utilize it more. Proper sensitization, even the police units, they have no idea about the rights of the senior citizen, where to go, how to approach, where to approach, and even the senior citizen, they have no clue that they have a dedicated act also for their rights. So sensitization is extremely important. Next is proper education of ethical and moral values. If we do not teach our children about the moral and the moral values, how they should behave towards the senior citizen, in that case, even one day we will be ill-treated and mistreated by them. So it's better, we should start at the very, the first inception as well. The next is arbitration. Whenever we hear about courts, there we actually do get panic. What will happen, court, long procedure, fees and everything. So it's better we resort to some kind of arbitration. So this particular provision can also be incorporated. Next is the constant monitoring by the municipality or the corporation, because if there is no monitoring, there will be no proper implementation. Next is we should try to raise the general awareness about the rights of the the senior citizens. Only discussions will not help. We should actually practically try to raise the level of awareness. Try to give vocational training so that the senior citizens are not dependent on anybody. The retirement age, we should look after this. We should not keep age as a barrier to anybody to work. More and more social participation and the peer group participation in public forum will definitely bound to elevate the position of the senior citizens towards a better life. And with this, I would like to conclude with a quote, beautifully quoted by Charlie Gonzalez. After a long time of working, raising families, and contributing to the success of the nation in countless ways, senior citizen deserves to retire with dignity. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think the most luxurious possession, the most valuable treasure that everyone has is their personal dignity. And when we achieve human rights and human dignity for all the people, including senior citizens, they will build a peaceful, sustainable, and just world. Truly depicted by you, ma'am, in the context of senior citizens by analyzing their perspective and their mental makeup. It was a very insightful session, ma'am. We got a complete different view of human rights for senior citizens. The challenges they faced were explained by you in a very lucid way. And the awareness we got about all the laws and the details of their chapters even, it was so informative, ma'am. Very beautiful articulation. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Navneet, ma'am, to pay the gratitude to our resource person.
Ms. Sarvani Bhonik, excellent presentation. The rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. We need to take care. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. But if they will see the way you've explained all the chapters, I think everybody will be aware of their rights. Thank you. It was really wonderful. My apologies. I interrupted you in between, but they are very important because a lot of people are there who have a lot of queries. And at the end of the session, you both will be solving that. I'd like to request Mr. Shaukin Singh Varmachi, Senior Advocate, Haryana and Punjab High Court. Sir, please, if you can conclude the session, because you are the right person.
Please, madam.
We are still laymen here. You're the
Please,
right
madam.
person. You can thank them and you can conclude the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Navneet, ma'am, Dr. Dilpreet Kaur, ma'am, Madam Daisy Alexander, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Nothing was left after the Madam Daisy explanation with the landmark judgment and define all life and liberty judgment, Khadaksing judgment, and Menka Gandhi judgment. Me lordship, Madam Daisy is nothing was left after the Madam Daisy. All law is complete, define every judgment, every article 19, 21, article 14, right to equality. And Madam Sarbani Bhavika is define the Senior Citizen Act very well in defining the very deeply. Today's session is likely conclude, and I define the only 1 minute. According to the report of the National Crime Bureau (NCB) between 2021 and 2018, there have been 1,727 reported custodial death, and out of these custodial death, only mere 26 police persons have been convicted. Very less. Case is registered 1,700 to 27 reportable. Only 26% is personally has been convicted. And according to Human Rights Commission, is recorded 200 human rights violations against police, out of which only 34 have been reached to level of the conviction. And I say we need to do more work on the human rights. And today, well defined by the Daisy Alexander ma'am, many cases report lodged against the human rights violation, but conviction is 0. 5%. Indian has mere 5% conviction rate in case of the custodial torture and death. So thank you, ma'am, all of you. Good evening, and thank you so much, Daisy ma'am, and Dilpreet Kaur ma'am, and Navneet ma'am, and Sarbani Bhaviki ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Before
Thank you
Dilpreet
so much.
takes over, I'll just conclude, Dilpreet. It was really a
Yes.
wonderful session, and my all thanks to Team ICERT. Our chairman, Dr. Sandeep Singamar, our secretary, Dr. Sandeep Sehag, relation officers, Ms. Saima, Dr. Reddy, Dr. Simran, so many people working behind this platform. Really gratitude to each one of you, every core member, because what platform you give us. Before this session, I was not aware of so many things which are really indeed very, very important for us. I have learned one thing over here. We all are human, born with dignity and equal rights. Therefore, if someone tries to take away our rights, we need to fight back. And to fight back, we have 3 eminent personalities in front of us. Please do write in your chat box or email ID so anybody can reach you. Even globally, if there are other advocates in the platform, please do write your email ID also. People from Nigeria, people from different part of countries. If you are in legal field, please do share your email so that we can catch you, we can meet you, we can talk to you whenever any problem occurs, and we can fight back for our rights. Because this is, I think, our priority. This is something we are blessed with. Thank you so much. I'll give over to Dilpreet to give vote of thanks.
I would like to conclude with a remark that your home might change, but your rights won't. And when it comes to human dignity, we cannot make a compromise. I would like to mention here Nelson Mandela. He was a hero to all people who value freedom and dignity and justice. President Mandela's principled opposition to tyranny and injustice inspires us today and will inspire our sons and daughters for generations to come. Our enlightening sessions today by Dr. Daisy Alexander
and Ms. Sarbani Bhaumik were very knowledgeable, insightful, and kindled a spark in all of us today to stand for the human rights, for own self and for others as well. I would like to thank Dr. Sandeep Singhamar, Chairman ICRT, for being a true visionary. Dr. Sandeep Sehak, Secretary ICRT, for his commitment to excellence and positive aura. Dr. Navneet Kaur, Executive Director ICRT, for her always smiling, kind, and wise words. And I would also like to thank complete team ICRT for organizing such events with such knowledgeable dignitaries who put their heart and soul to make it a success. The whole team deserves a huge applause today. So huge applause for the team ICRT. Thank you so much for giving me and all of us this platform. Now, I would request Dr. Navneet ma'am to conduct the question answer session.
Thank you, Dilpreet. You've always been a wonderful and warm host. And
Thank
your
you so much,
smile
ma'am.
always brings a lot of life in us. Wonderful resource persons we have. Now I'll go for the question round. And I'll request participant when I'm calling your name, please unmute yourself, ask your question, and to whom you're asking your question. We have three people over here, Dr. Daisy Alexander, we have Ms. Sarbani Bhaumik, and we have Mr. Shokeen Singh Verma. So please do that. I'm taking first question. This is for, I'll move to Daniel Ajani. Hi, Daniel, please unmute yourself. Daniel Ajani, yeah, please unmute. Unmute. First, you need to unmute.
Categories. Here, the prize was awarded.
Daniel, you need to unmute. You're still not unmuted. I can see you, but you need to unmute your. No, I can see your picture, but the voice is not coming. Down to your screen, there is written mute button. On that, if you will click, you will unmute yourself. Where the voice recorder is there, speaker is there. Please see that.
It's not to present a Nobel laureate. Nobel laureate, right?
Daniel, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you later. Okay, I'll go to Dr. Philip. I'll go to Dr. Philip.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Hello.
Philip.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to those that are in the morning. We are in the afternoon here in Ghana. Let me first say congratulations to the organizer of this program. And then congratulations to everyone that have presented. It's a well-elaborated presentation. But my view is this. Looking at the perspective in which they are coming from, I think we need to look at it globally from different zones, different perspectives, and then translate it alongside with the enforcement law and constitution on ground. Because when you cite what happened in India, what happened in other jurisdictions like the Asia, in Africa, it is not so. Most especially when you look at West Africa, ECOWAS region, you will see that the dignity and then the freedom and justice for all, it's not really explicitly carried out according to the constitution and according to the law. It has become more or less a political word, stone word, in which you will chant one person, you destroy one, you uplift those that are for you. And I think at this stage, we need to look at it globally, whereby we will have a one policy that can look at it in diverse perspective so that it can be grounded, so that justice for one is justice for all in the entire universe. So I believe in this perspective, there is need to bring lawyers from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, in order for us to have a real concrete policy that will have a real implementation within the jurisdiction. So I believe this aspect will help a lot so that the dignity, the freedom, and justice for all will be established. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Philip. What you said is totally true. And justice for all is something when we look from the perspective of UNESCO, that's why we are celebrating this day. There has to be one rule and there is rule. We all follow that. Dr. Daisy Alexander, you want to add something over here?
Yes, ma'am. Well, Dr. Philip, you're right. And when we talk about human rights, we go through very subtly and very... Hello?
Yeah, ma'am, please continue, please.
Yes, so we do have these where we go through very subtly and very explicitly at times in various situations in our own countries. And when we put together, we have the Charter of the Universal Declaration, and that is what is enshrined in our constitution as well, in each country's constitution. So as you said, what you experience is different and what I experience will be different. But I spoke about my perspective, and we need to have people from all around, as you said, when we talk about justice for all, so we can make it, we can bring, consolidate these policies, and we can make it even more better in the next session. I appreciate your words, and I take it from you, like what you said. It's really right. And only when you go through it, you feel how badly you are hurt with respect to the human rights. And it's not just this, as gender as well, there are times every day we face these problems. And then it is again a political war at times when you talk about this. So country to country really go through these problems. You're right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I just, wonderful, Daisy Alexander, what you have explained. I want to add up something over here. Dr. Philip, ICERT is one big educational institution which is dealing with all the countries. Many countries are participating over here, and I have seen more than 45 countries are already there. Same way, there are many other NGOs who are working for the platform of humanitarian relief, education, advocacy, so many other things. So like in Ukraine, so much problem is going on. People from different countries, different NGO are reaching here to help people for justice. So same way, there are different platforms. UNO, UNESCO are their wonderful platform, which is dealing at each and every country, and we are indirectly part of it only. So if anywhere any need is there, I think this platform is the best place where we can reach to each other. Thank you for your question. I'll go to Sir Rakshita. Please unmute yourself. Rakshita.
Hello. Okay. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. Those who want to ask question, please raise your hands. I'll come one by one to all of you. Yeah, please, ma'am, continue.
In these present situations, so many people are unemployment. In every year, so many people and so many students are outgoing, but only a job opportunity is less. What is the reason and your suggestion for this?
Whom you want to ask this question? Okay, we'll go to Sarbani Bhaumik, ma'am, for this question. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Okay, ma'am.
Mr. Suhail Mohammed, I'll come back to you later. Let us first give this answer. Yeah, ma'am.
The thing is, as we know, there are varied reasons of unemployment. But reason is something that I cannot give you, but what I can give you is the solution. The solution is, the only one solution that I can propose is work hard. Okay, we should work hard. We should try to achieve our target. We should not compete with others. We should compete with oneself. Let's make us so much prepared and well presented and well qualified that we do not have any kind of, let's not find a reason for having been unemployed. Let's try to make us qualify so much highly educated, so that there is a time will come when you will have to choose which job actually I wish to actually join. So it's better you should make yourself prepare for that particular situation. Let's not blame the condition, let's not blame the circumstances, let's not blame the economic condition or the unemployment or anything. Let's just make ourselves prepared. Let's try to get more and more experience. I can tell you one more thing. I do not know whether you are undergraduate or a postgraduate or a doctoral student, but still I would like to mention no work is less work. All work has some kind of experience that gets added to your resume. So do not think that this particular work is not suited to my CV, or this particular work, if I do this, it will become worthless or something. Nothing such. You should start with a small thing, and slowly as you acquire more and more experience, a day will come that when you have too much of experiences and too much of knowledge, at that point of time, trust me, all these experiences get added to your resume and to your practical experience.
Wonderful.
So do not like be choosy. Just go for it. Whatever you are getting, if it suits to your CV, please go for it. Don't think about the money, what you are getting, what the offer that you are getting. Just start. Make a step. Just take a step. Trust me, one day with baby steps only, you will take a huge step. That is, I think, you should follow.
Well said, Ms. Sarbani. You need to be imbibed with all 21st century skills, Ms. Rakshita. Unemployment may be there, but if you are multitasker, as Sarbani ma'am has said, you can peep into any work. And kudos to ICERT. If you are attending all our seminars, every time there is a different topic. Every time there is a different resource person. And everything on the same platform. Now it is you how to catch up to different field. It may be health, it may be education, it may be justice. I'll request somebody's phone is not mute. Please mute that. Thank you so much. So you should be open with your knowledge. You should be open to adapt things. So wherever you get an opportunity, just peep in that. And world is yours. Thank you. I'll go to Dr. Komal Sharma next.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
And thanks for this very meaningful topic. I just have a concern about my old age parents, so I want to ask my question regarding that. Actually, they are they are retired, and I am married, and we are the 3 sisters, and no brother. So it's not I really want to know कि whenever they need any type of help, like medical help or related to health or something, they are now totally dependent. So any provision for that, how can we help them?
Sarbani ma'am, over to you.
Yes, the thing is, if I talk strictly about the law says, and even the judicial pronouncement says that even a married daughter must give maintenance to their parents. Now the thing is, what your parents want. If your parents is like asking for maintenance for a particular daughter or something, in that case they can approach them. But if you want to say that since we are 3 sisters, we should contribute to their well-being and maintenance, that is also available. So it depends upon your the financial conditions as well as the financial conditions of your sisters. But the thing is, each and every married daughter is actually liable to maintain and protect their parents. This is the law that we have in India.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you. But my concern is that they are pensioners, they are getting very good pensions. But is there any provision for them? Is there any NGO or government provisions to take care of them?
Yes, there are certain provisions. These type of provision actually vary from state to state. In West Bengal, we need to find out that what state provisions is applicable in your state. If we talk about the national pension schemes, that is also available. And if when you are saying that they are pension holders and they have optimum the quantum of that pension is best suited for them, in that case they can maintain out of their own pensions only. Okay.
Sarbani ma'am, I'll add something here. For the senior citizen, the best gift is their own children. Nobody can give that love, that warmth, that care what the children can give. So instead of looking for other resources, I believe it is our duty to take care of them the way they have taken our care when we were kids. I'll go to Abdul Qadir. Kabiro Abdul Qadir, please unmute. We have only 5 minutes left. Actually, time is over, but I'm going to take 2-3 questions. Kabiru Abdul Qadir. Yeah, please. Over to you.
Hello, hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Please, your question.
Good afternoon. How is it?
Good afternoon, sir.
With regard to the issue of disease justice we are talking about, we in African countries, more especially in Nigeria, the issue of corruption is very, very dangerous. It is debating the issue of for justice in our country. So how are we going to come about this issue of corruption so that there should be justice for all?
Dr. Daisy Alexander, your question?
That is my question.
Yeah.
Well, sir, it's not just in your country. It may be subtle. It's everywhere, where sometimes we can talk about it, sometimes we're not able to talk about it. We go through it. We have gone through it. And well, we can only take a pledge on ourselves that I will not get into it, and I will see that I don't become like the other does. There are times when we are not able to stop. Sometimes we don't have the right the weapon to stop that. There may be consequences with respect to that, but I'm being honest about it. But we can do a little bit from our own local ways where we can stop it, and that's the only way we can spread. Like, it begins from me. I don't do it. I don't let the other, or I don't fall into it and take it. I know it's hard. It depends upon country to country, and if you start looking into it, there'll be so many cases with respect to that, from small to big. Every small little thing. Even when I'm working at a place where I'm supposed to work for 1 hour, or if I'm supposed to take a lecture for 1 hour and I skip the 10 minutes thinking nobody's getting to know, or I do, even that is corruption. So it begins from that small things which become big. So that is what I would suggest and I would tell you.
Very true, Dr. Daisy Alexander. Kabiru Abdul Kar, it starts from us. How strong are my ethical values? And that I'm going to give it to others. So being teachers, being educators, whatever profession we are, we need to be instilled and we need to incorporate good values in ourselves. Gradually, slowly. I know a lot of problems in Africa, in India, every country. But again, we can change the world, and we need to start from us. At least people around us will see us. Everyone won't follow, maybe, but maybe one person will follow. So let's start with that. But your question is really valid. Thank you. I'll go to Daniel Ajani again, if he can come on the screen.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Daniel Ajani, if you can unmute immediately. Next, I'll go to Anupama Khanna. Anupama Khanna, if you can unmute.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes. Your question, please.
Ma'am, it's a wonderful session. My question rises from a experience which I had, that there's a case where 2.5-story house is in dispute.
Yeah, Daniel, I'll come back to you. Just give me 1 minute. I'll come back to you after this question. Yes, Anupama.
Sure,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Anupama.
Ma'am, I know through the personal experience, and I would like to ask the panel over here. There's a house in dispute, 2.5 stories, in domestic violence. One floor has been given to the daughter-in-law, but the Barsati MCD is saying that we will demolish, and that has not been given under the protection order by DV. So what can the daughter-in-law do? Because it's on the terrace, and third floor is with the daughter-in-law, and the Barsati is under to be demolished because the husband did not submit the papers. So what can the daughter-in-law do? This is a case which is happening here in our family.
Dr. Daisy, will you take this?
So let me tell you, if the husband did not do or follow the due process of law, you cannot do anything about it, because he had to submit those papers. If what the law says is ultimate. I know the daughter-in-law is suffering, and she may be, she can feel cheated in the whole case. But end of the day, it's the law which is supreme, and whatever the law says, you have to go. And if you have failed to do it, it's your fault. Because if a document is public and you did not know about it, it's like, it's assumed that you know about it. You can't say, like, I'll cross the road, I'll take my car, and if the yellow light, if it's at a yellow light, and I say, oh, I did not know yellow light means I cannot jump the signal, they will say, no, oh, I did not know this. Even if you land up in Singapore today as an Indian, and if you spit on the road, you would be fined $500. Whether you say, oh, I didn't know the Singapore laws. The moment you land up in a place, you're supposed to know the law.
Exactly.
So,
Paperwork is important and we should be aware of that. I'll go to Daniel Ajani. Please ask your question. Mr. Daniel, please unmute immediately because, yeah.
Thank you. My question is for Dr. Daisy. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, please, Daniel, ask your question.
Yeah.
We are hearing you.
Unemployment is a growing concern in many countries now. Is an employer liable for the injuries suffered by an employee who had willingly accepted job conditions for which injury is suffered? That's one. Two, if someone's sleep is truncated by someone's religious right, e.g., worship service, night vigil, and all of that, is it justiciable in a court of law? That's number two. And for Madam Fawmi Sabani, age, if I heard you right, age is a number. It should not, the capacity to work should be the one that is privileged. But age is responsible for the atrophy of some body parts and some body organs, and ultimately the strength and mental alertness. Now my question, will it not be better to step up advocacy for better retirement package instead of advocating for continuing service after statutory retirement age? Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Daisy, you would love to take his first.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, Mr. Daniel, the first question, when you're talking about employment, if you are signing up the terms of employment, you have to be bound by that. But that does not mean that your fundamental rights can be violated. Any of your fundamental rights, you have a right to go to the court and you can ask for that. And if it's against the government, then you have a direct writs. You have the writs where you can file a writ against the government where your fundamental rights are violated, which is granted or guaranteed by the Constitution, which is a supreme document and document of the country. And when you're talking about the second question, which was related to religious, yes, the Constitution guarantees the freedom of religion, the freedom of the irrespective of caste, creed, or religion. So you can profess any religion what you like, and with respect to the personal laws as well. So there again, nobody can come and violate this aspect, and this is guaranteed by the Constitution. So these two aspects. And moreover, last time when somebody was asking about employment as well, there is dignity of labor. So when there is dignity of labor, you can do any job. It's up to you what you like. I might do any job. It's my passion. It's not about education. It's not about education being directly proportional to employment. Living is something we all live. It's bread butter. So we all live. Yeah. We can do any job. And that dignity of the job is very important. Whatever job I do, I have my dignity as a citizen, and the Constitution guarantees that dignity, because everybody cannot be lawyers. Everybody cannot be doctors. There has to be somebody who is a housekeeper. There has to be somebody who's, but that dignity is very important. And that is where we are asking our Constitution to protect and safeguard the citizen with respect to every aspect of the Constitution.
Wonderful example, Dr. Daisy. I applaud you on this, the dignity part. Beautiful. Yeah, Sarbani, the last answer, you'd love to take that? Daniel's last question, yeah.
Another question.
Whether should we do shall we do advocacy at once we retire? Dr. Alexander has pointed out that we have a right to work that is guaranteed under the Indian Constitution. I think it's not only a matter of Indian Constitution, I think it has been guaranteed under the Charter as well. So whatever gives me the pleasure to do, I should do that. be it like any kind of household work or advocacy, or be a medical practitioner, or be whatever. If I am competent to do that work, if I love my job, I think that is the greatest pleasure that is going to give me. If at the time of retirement, if I can do what I feel like, if I can do like, if some people have like different types of hobbies like gardening and gardening as well. So if this gives me the pleasure, that is also a right to work. I can earn my living through that particular profession as well. So it is not only a matter of advocacy or any kind of practices. Whatever gives me the happiness, the pleasure, we should go into. And that age should not restrict anybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bani. I'll take the last question. Iza Umar Al Musawi. Please unmute yourself. Iza Umar Al Musawi. Iza Umar Al Musawi, if you want to ask a question, you need to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. Good evening to you all.
Very good evening.
Thank you. My question is going to answer by Dr. Bani.
Okay.
In her presentation, he make a statement that there is a senior citizen. Who is that senior citizen? Thank you. Is my question.
Okay, coming to your question, who is a senior citizen? Now, if I talk about the laws of different nations, each and every nation have pointed out their own age. Like if I talk about US, they have pointed out 65. If we talk about the Indian laws, it is about 60. So there is no such definite age where I can say that this particular age is the standard where we are going to consider that particular person as a senior citizen. So the definition has not been well defined in any of the international platforms. So we will go by whatever the national legislation says. So it may be in our nation be 60 years, maybe in other nation it may be a different age limit. Thank you.
Any other question anybody wants before I
end?
If anybody wants to ask anything or speak anything, you can unmute.
May I please, ma'am?
Yeah, please, Anupama.
Ma'am, my question was partially answered. In this case, the person was not, it's not that the daughter-in-law was unaware of the law. The house belongs to the mother-in-law and the husband. So they had to give the papers. They deliberately did not give because it's, they wanted to get some pleasure out of it or whatever. But does it not cover it under the domestic violence? Can she appeal to the domestic violence court? Thanks, please.
Dr. Daisy?
Yes, Ms. Anupama. Well, you can raise this issue of domestic violence like this is, see, domestic violence is a definite aspect, but then you can bring it, but then I cannot guarantee you that you will be winning this matter in the court, that the court will grant you that. Because first and foremost, as I told you, they may have taken the pleasure, they may have been doing that, but at the same time, the law is supreme. So they were aware of it and they deliberately did it. But then again, if the statute says that you cannot, then the question doesn't arise. So, I mean, if they have done it deliberately, but then they have not done it, the court would say, we have not received. And when you talk about domestic violence, the first and foremost is it talks about whether she has been treated badly. A lot of things come into picture. But here she is denied of her rights with respect to that property, which she was supposed to get it. Or in that case, yes, she can ask. But here they have not done certain things which has to be done, which is a due process of law, and which they have not done, and it is a deliberate move from their side. So again, I would say it is a law which would be, there is no point in giving you a appeasement and telling you, no, it's a domestic, she can, that doesn't make sense.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daisy. And thanks to each and every participant who has asked beautiful questions, which has enhanced our knowledge in a different way. Human rights are not a privilege conferred by government. They are every human being's entitlement by virtue of his humanity. Every human deserves to be treated with their basic and necessary rights. Let us all join hands to spread equality and righteousness on this Human Rights Day. This is my message for you all. Thank you so much, all the resource persons. Once again, Dr. Daisy Alexander, Sir Bani Bhaumik, Mr. Shokhi, whole team ICRT for a wonderful platform to all of us, where we are becoming learners in a different way. We are shaping in a different personalities. Thanks to beautiful moderator, Dr. Dilpreet, and everyone, each and every participant from the whole universe. Thank you. Till we meet next. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever you have in your country. Please be safe. Take care of yourself and your community. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dilpreet, you will end up? You would like to add something?
Just would like to say that it is always a learning experience here at ICRT, and I am blessed to be part of Team ICRT and connected to you, ma'am. You're always so inspiring, a role model to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody wants to speak anything? It's open. Anybody wants to go? Bye-bye. Anybody wants to speak? We are here to still listen. You can switch on your videos, camera, so that we can see each other. So anywhere in the world we meet each other, we can able to connect you. I can see Dr. Philip there. I can see Vinay Kumar, CV Prasad, Esther, Professor D. Manvalan, Dr. Dada, Santosh Vadhave, Dr. Fasaina, how are you? Wonderful to see you. I know a lot of people now. Dr. Komal is there, Rakesh, Baban Geeta. We have Sandosh Vadharaji there. Beautiful to have you all. Anybody can speak if you want. Last 1 minute. Oh, I can see so many people over here. Meena Negi is there, Chako, Dr. Nuzudha, Ali Nuhu, Vivo, Latifat, Ebenezer, Adavi, Victor, S. Jhiwala, Dr. Sushma, Ritika Seth, Dr. Kangte, Yogendra, Abhunavi, Sanjeev, Mary, Rasina. Sorry if I'll miss any name. Mary, Sanjeev Biswas, Abuday Lavan. I'm speaking those names whose pictures I can see. Kavita, wonderful to have you. Sanjeev Biswas, Makhwana, Chibo, Rakshita. So wonderful to have you all over here. Oluchi, Olofin, Chaco. Great, great, great. That's wonderful. Time is over, but still so many people I can see over here. Thank you so much. Till we meet next, God bless you. God bless you, your family. God bless you, your nation, everyone around you. Bye-bye. Take care. Shabba khair. Thank you. Dr. Anju Gupta, sorry, I missed your question. You want to speak something? I'll take that. Dr. Anju Gupta, you want to say something? You've raised your hand. Ahmed Shafiq, you've raised your hand. If you want to speak something, please unmute. Ahmed Shafiq Usaini. Dr. Anju Gupta. Okay, we'll close over here. Thank you. Take care. Till we meet next. Thank you, ICRT, for this beautiful family, which you have made us one globally. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.